So we're continuing to talk about this thing I call tasteful mediocrity. No one wants to be mediocre, but I think that there are some temptations that can come with pursuing excellence, even though I do think that we should pursue excellence. So hold on a second. This is my daughter's American Girl doll thing. I don't think she'll mind. That's probably not safe. Okay, let's say this is how well people are engaged with a greater knowledge of the greatness of God. This is like a frowny face. Blessed be your name. And then up the top here, this person's praise dancing, this person's getting their shofar out. Then on the x-axis, this is like how much skill you or your team or something has. From I've never played an instrument before to I have like a master's degree in concert violin or something. As your skill increases, so does your ability to create music that leads people to really worship. And then here's what I think happens. I think this starts to happen. You start to plateau. I think that's okay. It's a classic law of diminishing returns. Now here's the thing, I think probably a lot of people, probably a lot of you might disagree with me, and if you disagree with me, that is fine. Write something in the comments. This has been my experience. Whoosh! I have been to a number of churches where the musical skill of the musicians and the team is so good that I cannot worship. Too intricate, clever, too involved. And one could say, well, okay, the solution to that is, you know, the leader needs to just tell them like, hey, pare it down, simplify. But here's the other thing that I've noticed that I think is really worth thinking about. People who are earnestly praising God want to praise God with everything they've got. So when people have a lot of skill, it is really hard, I think, for them to worship fully engaged in their own personal worship as they're playing their instruments or singing or whatever, without falling into this valley here. Does that make sense? It's hard for me to say that because I live right in this area here, kind of. That's like my skill level. I don't want to get into this category. I don't ever want to do anything that's distracting. So where does that leave us? Maybe the best worship teams are made up of people who aren't really that skilled. Maybe, this is an idea. Maybe the best worship teams, the ones that can fully worship to the full extent, like when I'm playing guitar, I am not that good at guitar. I can only play at this level. My full skill and engagement can be happening with the guitar, and I'm only still in this area. But if my full level of guitar playing skill was here, I could dumb myself down and feel like I am just going through the motions and maybe helping other people worship. Or I play at the level that I really want to worship at, and it's distracting for everyone else. It could seem kind of depressing. It could seem like, well, why try to get better? Why try to have excellence if this is all that's going to happen? There's a few things that I think they're not really solutions, but they're observations. I do think that this can happen. There are some people who are so excellent and so in tune with what the Spirit is doing in their worship environment that they can be both of these things. It's not so much that they're playing at this level and at this engagement level with the congregation. It's more that they're actually able to play back at one of these levels and not feel like they're not fully engaged because their heart is fully engaged. That is the goal, of course. That's awesome, but that's a hard place to be. So that's one way. The other way is, I think in cases where someone's like this, they need to play at this level, even if they're not satisfied, and then they need to find other opportunities to play with people at this level, or other congregations that do want and respond to this level, because that's a huge factor in this too. Each congregation is gonna have a different sort of curve here. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. This was a lot of, but that's what I wanted to throw out there. Just an idea, just something I've been thinking about. In one of the upcoming videos, maybe the next video, I want to talk about the people who kind of live right in here. I believe there's ways to use very moderate skill to really worship that I think could be kind of fun. That's all for now. I will see you later.